Hi, everyone. My name is Tom Greco, and I'd like to welcome everybody to today's Foundation Software Partnership webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about Foundation Software from an accounting perspective, talking about construction-specific accounting. And then also, very happy to have one of our partners here today, Nat Peniston from the Contractors Plan. And he's going to talk a little bit about what they do from a benefit management perspective, talking about fringe benefits, and talk about how the two products can come together, giving you an overall, very, very efficient and construction-specific solution that can help you both from the accounting side, as well as anybody interested in learning a lot more about fringe benefit bona fide plans. So Matt's also on the call today, and I'd like to turn it over to him, and he's going to explain to you about the Contractors Plan.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom, and thank you, everyone, for taking time out of your busy day. We're going to go through this pretty quickly and efficiently, as Tom was saying. I've been with Fringe Benefit Group for about 9 years now, and what we're going to do quickly is just kind of a quick overview of who we are and what we do, the prevailing wage market, fringe benefits, and what makes them bona fide, and then some of the specifics around our software and employer and employee advantages. So we've been around for over 35 years. We actually created the first prevailing wage retirement plan that was authorized by the Department of Labor. Today we have a bit over 200 employees, 100+ million in annual revenues. Our retirement trust has about 1.2 billion. And each year we're processing over $230 million of both health and retirement contributions for over 200,000 employees. So we focused entirely on a real small market niche, which are DOL approved bona fide benefits, specifically for non-union contractors. If you were a member of the union or participating in the union, you would be sending those fringe benefits off to the union. But what a lot of non-union contractors find is that it's pretty difficult to manage the certified payroll and fringe benefit statements and wage determinations and all those different things, which is where we come in, especially with our partnership with Foundation. So as some of you may know, the Davis-Bacon Act is obviously the federal act. Goes back to 1931, and it's intended to protect local contractors from non-local contractors from bidding on public projects. Then 30 states or so have little Davis-Bacon provisions. These laws may apply to schools or other state projects. And just know we've got expertise in the Service Contract Act as well, which is a similar sister act that only applies to services. So here's a quick overview. Many of you may have seen a wage determination before. In this example, you've got a $30 base wage, a $10 fringe benefit. If you were to put the entire amount on the paycheck, that would be $40. And many contractors pay some or all of the fringe in the paycheck as wages because it's the easiest way to satisfy DOL compliance. As we're going to talk about, however, it is also the most costly. The reason it's costly is because all cash wages are subject to the payroll burden. So you've got FICA, which is 7.65%, that's Social Security, federal unemployment, state unemployment, general liability, and most importantly, workers' comp, which ranges anywhere from 10 to 40%. So nationally, we see a payroll burden of about 25%. So let's look at a specific laborer. So in this case, we've got a base wage of $30, fringe of $10. I'm going to pay the total wage of $40 in the paycheck. Therefore, my payroll burden at 25% is $10. So my total bid cost is $50 per hour for this employee. By contrast, if we put the fringes into a bona fide plan, which is the way it was intended, then you would only have $30 of wages, $7.50 of payroll burden, and we still need to put the fringes into a plan, so that $10 still occurs, but now we've saved $2.50 on that per hour of labor, so my bid is 5% lower. So let's look at this in terms of an overall contractor. In this example, 75% of the contractor's work is government work. Obviously, they're 40 hours a week times 52 weeks in a year gives you 2080. Recognize that not all contractors or workers are doing straight 2080, but this is just kind of for some back of the napkin math. 75% of 2080 would be 1560 hours. I've got 25 hourly employees. The hourly savings by removing the fringe from payroll is $2.50. So that gives me in the first year a savings of just shy of $97,000, or just over $97,000, just shy of $100,000. So pretty significant, and these plans are intended to progress into the future, and so multiply that by 3 or 5 years, you might be talking about $300,000 or $500,000. So where can the fringe dollars go in a bona fide plan? Well, first they can go to a retirement plan. They can also go to health and welfare, so think medical benefits or specialty benefits like dental and vision and so forth. They can also legally go to vacation and also to training, such as an apprenticeship training program. So what makes a plan bona fide? Essentially, bona fide is a fancy way of saying legitimate. And the DOL has come out with a handful of requirements to make a plan legitimate. And first and foremost, it must be specified in writing and communicated to the covered employees. So you cannot just verbally say, here's our plan. You actually have to have a plan written down and communicated in writing. Two, and this is most important, the contributions must be made to a third party or trust, and they must be irrevocable, meaning they cannot in any way, shape, or form ever even have the ability to flow back to the employer. Kind of obvious, needs to convey a benefit to the person actually performing the work. Some people ask, can we do an individual benefit? No, it has to be a group chassis, group benefit plan. And it has to be accounted for on an hourly basis. So that's where Foundation comes in tracking all of that payroll reporting. If you were to do a paper form, it would literally be the WH-347, but essentially that needs to be tracked on an hourly basis. And then there's an exception for automatic vesting retirement plans. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. But health and other specialty benefits, those would be for all hours worked, something called annualized, which we don't have time to get into today, but is a pretty important concept for the health side. So on retirement plans, prevailing wage plans permit the employer to determine how much to contribute on an hourly basis per job class and site. So that's super important. You can say, for this project, for the courthouse downtown, I'm going to take $10 out of a $20 fringe, and for this other project, I'm going to take all $20 out of the fringe. You can also discriminate based on tenure or job classification or those types of things. So if you've got say a master electrician that you can't afford to lose and you want to pay those fringes out in cash to that master electrician, then maybe you classify master electricians as getting fringes in cash, and all other electricians would get fringes in bona fide benefits. Important to note that fringe contributions are considered employer contributions. So these are at the employer's discretion how it's allocated and what it's allocated to, provided it's bona fide, as we've just talked about, provided it's 100% vested. So you can set up a plan just for fringes, or you can set up a 401k or profit sharing plan that has elective deferrals as well as the fringes. If you do a 401k or profit sharing plan, there are a couple of ways to help owners maximize their own plan contributions through the plan design and help meet testing. So we've got a customized benefits portal that we created, we built in-house, entirely proprietary. And I'm not going to read all of this, but it's designed for the construction industry. It's designed to be very easy to navigate, very much icons and graphics. We recognize that English second language may be applicable to a number of these employees, but it's also a platform for the employer to manage the plan. So things like adding and terming plan members or uploading a census, tracking enrollment and stats and so forth, all of that is able to be done at the employer level. So here's an example of a retirement screen. They click on account to see their own account. Rate of return, pretty standard. So overall, what are the advantages to putting these fringe dollars, these mandated fringe dollars into a bona fide benefit plan? Well, first and foremost, it's going to make those bids more competitive and or higher profits. If the employer or contractor is already winning the bids, then the savings can drop directly to the bottom line in terms of profits or cash flow. If the contractor finds that they're not winning bids and they're missing them by a few $1,000s, then this can help free up and make them able to be more competitive versus the union or other non-union contractors that are managing the fringes this way. It also equalizes the wages between public and private work. I mean, it's not uncommon for us to see private work be on a per hour basis $40 an hour, and then public work be $50 an hour base wage plus a $20 fringe. So now one's 40 and one's 70, and employees that are getting the $70 an hour are going to start to think they're worth $70 an hour. So by removing that $20 an hour, they're still making $10 more in my example of 40 to 50. But at least now they're not getting that $20 on the paycheck immediately. It's going to increase the retirement savings for the owners and highly compensated executives and the employees. And it's going to put you essentially on equal footing against other firms that are offering bona fide benefits. So sometimes I get asked, how do I communicate this to our employees? Let's say it's right for us as an employer. How do we get the employee on board? Well, that's where we would come in and handle enrollment. But essentially, we're going to cover a couple of things. One, that the company needs to be competitive to win these jobs. If the company is at a disadvantage, that means they're going to do less public work because they're going to win fewer bids. And so would you rather a higher base wage and a retirement plan or health benefits, or would you rather higher cash but do less public work? And most people would prefer the former and do more public work and so forth. The fringes were designed to be used for benefits. If Congress wanted just a higher wage, they wouldn't have created the details around the fringes. And wages per prevailing wage are still high, and even when the fringe is used for benefits. And the other piece to recognize is that the employees get 100% of that money day one, meaning it's their money, it's vested, and there are no taxes taken out at the employee level. So most employees are going to be in the 30+% tax bracket. So $10 fringe paid out on the paycheck actually goes to $7 by the time taxes are taken out. And we have a pretty unique loan program that allows employees to take loans against their retirement account without any administration by the employer. It's 100% through our administration and system. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tom, and he's going to talk a little bit about the foundation software platform and how it integrates with us.
Thank you, Nat. So today we have some people who both are current foundation clients, as well as maybe some people who have never seen foundation before. So what I'd like to do is kind of intertwine both where, specific things in foundation completely integrate with the fringe benefit group side, as well as talk about, foundation as a whole for those that haven't seen the system, for those that haven't, this is the main menu of the system. And, foundation software day one back in 1985 was written for construction accounting. So extremely construction specific. And, as, all the things that Nat had mentioned, with the complexity of not only just, tracking the fringes, but then also, how does that relate back to my current system? Or, hey, I'm doing certifieds manually, or hey, I have no way of tracking those benefits. I have to do it on a spreadsheet. And that may go with a lot of things that, for those that don't use Foundation, you may be in that category right now where it's a constant, I do my accounting in system A and I do my reports in B, C, D, E, F, you name it. Where with Foundation day one, we're built to provide contractors with an efficient solution that can do both the accounting and then all the complex reports like certified payroll, runner billing, and job cost. And a lot of what Nat's mentioning deals with government work, work where, there's different scales and different benefit plans. And that's, pretty much been our bread and butter since day one. And what's nice about Foundation is, obviously you can do a lot more than just the certified payroll end. But, just kind of tying everything together, what, Nat was mentioning, especially with, the Department of Labor jobs and, being able to set that up and have, some efficiency on the payroll end, that's where Foundation's really going to shine. So, one of the things that we do very well is being able to have multi jobs in here where we can create those jobs not only just from a job number and job name perspective, but since it's a fully integrated accounting system, you're going to be able to do all your billings out of here. Definitely very proficient in being able to do multi-state payroll, certified payroll, retainage tracking. So, another thing that, if you're using something like off the shelf like QuickBooks or something that's not construction specific, those two things, certified payroll and retainage tracking, that's done very manually. So we like to, out of the gate be able to provide you with that, as well as being able to have projects with multiple pay rates, multiple fringe benefits. And the integration piece with Foundation and Fringe Benefit Group starts a lot with the setup part, where it's completely built in the system for us to be able to not only just set up a job with prevailing wage rates and fringes, but also an easy integration with Foundation and Fringe Benefit Group. A lot of that has to deal with the setup piece. And you'll notice, when I come in here and I create different fringes, this one I've set up special for the Fringe Benefit Group side, where if you notice this little checkbox here says including contractors plan. So that's the first piece, I guess, of the setup here, where we want to set up all the fringe codes as well as any of the miscellaneous deductions like 401k, any of those things that you have tied into the contractors plan, which, obviously with everything that we do here, both from, not only just a rollout standpoint, but also support standpoint, we do all in-house and we'd be able to walk you through all that. So once we have pretty much everything set up in here, what you're able to do is obviously go into the system and, enter in time cards and enter in payroll. And within the system, this is really where you start to get all the different pay rates. One of the nice things about Foundation is we have our own mobile application, which I'm just kind of briefly touching on everything. And, I'll get everybody my contact information for those that have more questions or want to see a full demo. But I definitely want to show you that, you are able to come in and have a time card in the system, whether we've entered this, through a smartphone or tablet or back office entry. I can come in and enter in a job, or I can code everything to a job. I can code everything to multiple jobs. We're able to program these fields to make them fit how you want to enter in payroll too as well. And we do full job costing. So if you notice, I'm also selecting cost codes. So I'm going to show you some reports that show estimate versus actual as well. We can also handle multi-trade payroll. So you may have guys that or gals that work in multiple classifications, work on multiple projects, where we're able to break all this down by job and cost code. And this is completely integrated with the reporting side. So we can ditch the spreadsheets and do everything right out of one system. Now, what's nice about the system is we talked about the job setup, where Fringe Benefit Group comes into play from a setup perspective. But then when I go to save this time, I can literally have a gentleman or a gal work in multiple jobs, multiple counties, multiple states, multiple pay rates. So it relieves the client from having to do a lot of manual labor tracking. And within the system too, we have our own fully integrated payroll service. So for those that outsource their payroll and, hey, you know what, can you guys do my taxes? Can you do my direct deposits? Can you do my quarterlies, my W-2s? We also have a sister company, Payroll for Construction, that handles that payroll end too. So you can also have us process your payroll, or you can process your payroll in-house. And with all of the flow in the system, we want you to be able to come in and, review time, process your payroll completely. And the direct integration between Foundation and the contractors plan is this feature right here. So once we have everything set up, you're live in the system and you're processing payroll, there's an excellent integration piece between Foundation software and the contractors plan. So it's kind of bringing the best of both worlds together, where, on the benefit side, the contractors plan is going to definitely take care of you on that end, and then Foundation can do the rest from the accounting and job costing side. And when I go to create this report here, it pulls out all the contractors plan information. It will take those fringes, as Nat had mentioned, calculate them for you, pull them into not only just this report, but we'll also take a look at a certified payroll too. And really, all you have to do is click this button up top here, and it will create the file for you then to upload to the contractors plan. Just to kind of show you a sample file here, this is just this report here that I've exported. I'm very big in, when I go through demonstrations, showing everybody that it can be done, where, this is the actual file layout that the Fringe Benefit Group company would need, and then you can then take that and upload that directly to Fringe Benefit Group. So in addition to being able to do that integration piece, the system in itself, we call it a one point of entry software. So when we just processed that whole payroll, we were able to create that exportable file. And then in addition to doing those styles of integrations, we also have every version of certified payroll in here. So once again, just increasing efficiency, where we have pretty much every single electronic upload. So with some states, like the state of California or Texas, Wisconsin, LCP tracker, a lot of these states and entities are mandating no longer the paper copies. They want an electronic upload, which a ton of people do manually, which, with Foundation, we can create that file for you for upload. In addition to all the electronic copies, we have pretty much every single paper copy you could think of, from Alaska all the way down to the U.S. Department of Labor. These are definitely a piece of Foundation's history and today of us, constantly updating all the different file formats that our clients need. So we program them, they're all internal. And all you pretty much have to do is put your date range in, run the report, and it's completed. Huge time saver. Also relieves you from having to do double entry, not only just that takes time, but also if you make a mistake or you enter something in wrong, that could definitely hurt you on the back end. In addition to payroll, I like to say we do everything, meaning we're able to do accounts payable, fully job costed. Another nice area of the system is going to be the AR module, where we see a ton of people that have to do AIA billings. And without a system like Foundation, once again, it's just another spreadsheet or another thing that I'm doing twice, where everything from an AIA billing perspective is going to be built into the system. And the whole way foundations programmed, we're programmed to be easy to use, right? So we want to be able to set this cover sheet up one time, as well as the schedule values. If you notice, I'm on pay application 2. You constantly update these pay apps. Everything shifts over the right way, whether we're talking previous certificate, previous retainage, and being able to calculate retainage by each line item. And then ultimately, once I'm ready to produce the actual billing, I can go up top here and produce the AIA directly out of the system. Everything should look good here, both from a cover sheet perspective, as well as your schedule values. And just kind of going through here really quickly, job costing is going to be big for us, where just another thing, people tend to do in Excel is work in progress, where some may need bonding reports or what people refer to as, work in process, work in progress, over under billing. It is automatically done in here. So being able to create jobs in the software, being able to track your change orders in here. We talked a little bit about cost from the payroll side, but then now we're also able to then tie in the billing side, the change orders, all into the big picture item called the over under billing, which this is done just by you putting in a date range and then running the report. So it's a huge time saver. And then also the integration between foundation and estimating. Being able to integrate third-party estimating is something that we do very well, as well as any other third-party product, whether you're using a third-party timekeeping application or ours, we build that integration with you as well. And I would say one of the bigger pieces is going to be the dashboard here, where a lot of people that I talk to, they don't really have an easy way of coming into their current solution and seeing, where all my jobs are at. I'm constantly waiting for somebody to update the spreadsheet, or, I just don't have an ability to track what I want to track. Where in Foundation, the dashboard is a big tool. It's a nice internal reporting tool that I can come into and see where all my jobs are at cost-wise. I'll know where every job percentage of completion is, as well as being able to double-click within any area of the dashboard, whether we're talking about change order analysis, financials, cash flow, open payables, open receivables. They're all nice drill down reports in here that can take us to as much detail as we want. And, I'm able to then drill into this specific job, and now I have everything about this job on one screen. Where this prevents, people from having to run multiple reports, have the spreadsheet for this, a spreadsheet for that. And we can get very detailed when it comes to job costing, where a lot of people aspire to have a nice cost code structure. And what we're able to do is set you up with your own structure, where then now we can begin to analyze not only if the job's making money or losing money, but what areas do we have cost in? Hey, what do we have out there for earthwork? And that's all going to be real time with the accounting system completely talking to all the job costing. I can then drill into any code that I want and now monitor the estimate versus actual side. Being able to see, okay, I have X amount of dollars in labor. I have X amount of labor hours remaining. Where all we're doing is just having a system that we're doing the accounting in that's going to be conducive to creating these reports. I can even get to the furthest level of detail. So when I want to drill into that labor, here's all the time cards from payroll. So when we enter that time card in our example with the multiple pay rates, we coded it all the way through. And then once payroll goes out the door, all these reports are updated in real time. And you could do that with pretty much every level of job costing in here, being able to drill into the furthest level of detail. I mean, even, with certain transactions, I'm able to drill all the way into the image of the transaction. So we do some document imaging within the system to where I can attach copies of invoices and then have them available to anybody that wants to drill that far into it. And once again, guys, I'm just kind of breezing through some of the highlights here. We're recording this webinar today, and we're going to send it out to everybody so that, if people want to see more of Foundation, I can definitely set up a one-on-one demonstration to dig into it as far as you'd like to go. Same thing with Nat. I'm going to provide you guys with his information too, so that you can contact him, or you can even contact me too, and I'll get you directed to him. And then, once we have everybody that attended or even registered attended, we'll send it out to you guys. So you guys should see that hopefully by the latest tomorrow. So what I'd like to do now, just kind of touching on some of the highlights of the system, also go through, any questions and answers. So I want to turn it over to everybody who's attending. There should be an area within your GoToMeeting player where you're going to be able to type in any questions that you have, and Nat and I will answer them with the time permitted. Okay, our first question. Is Foundation offered as a desktop solution or a cloud solution? It's actually both. So you could deploy Foundation something on your server, be able to access it locally, as well as be able to have us host it. We do all the hosting in-house. So you can access that. Pretty much you can access Foundation anywhere with an internet connection in the cloud. Any other questions today? Good deal. So I'd like to just put up on the screen now my contact information as well as Nat's. And anybody looking to do a personalized demonstration of Foundation, or get further information on the Fringe Benefit Group, I could be reached at either the toll-free 1-800 number that you see on the screen here, or you can always reach me via email too as well. And if you have questions for Nat, I can send them over to him as well. Or Nat's information is also on the screen here with his number as well as his email. I'd like to take the time to thank everybody for attending today. Check your email for the recording webinar that we're going to send out. We appreciate everybody's time, and you guys taking time out of your day to listen and watch our webinar. And if there's anything that we can do for you, feel free to reach out to us at any time.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everyone, for your time.
You're welcome, Matt. Thank you for attending and presenting too as well. Hope everybody has a wonderful day. Goodbye.